Alright guys, so in this video what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of our finishing options from the North-South Kimura. In one of the previous videos we did side control retention, and a really common situation we're going to end up from side control is in either North-South or North-South with our opponent on their side where we wedge them in place. So that's what we're going to work from today. Because once we have the Kimura grip locked up, we've got a wide variety of different finishes we can utilize in that position. It's a very strong position to be in. And depending on how my opponent is defending is going to really help determine the most effective finish or break that I can use at that point. Okay, so we're going to start with my uke. There's Jake on his side. We're not going to go through transitions right now. I'm going to use a very basic transition with the far side underhook. Okay, and his arm is here, around the head, just like so. Nice little hook on the underhook side, chest to chest, okay? So when I pull him up, it's really important we don't create any separation between chests, but I'm gonna hug tight, we're gonna pull him up to his side, and immediately I'm gonna tuck that gooseneck in really nice and tight, and then I'm gonna put my body weight on top of his arm, which is gonna compress into my forearm, which compresses into his rib cage, okay? So immediately you see the space between the back and the mat, okay? So remember, weight without wedges is useless. So I can put weight on him right now, but if I don't place effective wedges around his body, I'm not going to be able to keep him in this position. So the very first wedge I want to put in is by stepping over and dropping my knee behind his back. So let's turn this way. Okay, so that's the very first wedge, is the knee behind his back, nice and tight. So if he wants to go back to his back again, he's going to be stuck here, okay? My right knee is wedged on the other side of the head, okay? So now we're in that north-south position, okay? My right hand is grabbing wrist, my left hand is going to grab my wrist. Okay, so our basic Kimura grip. Actually, let's slide this way just a little bit. Just get a little bit closer. Okay, right there, perfect. Okay, so turn your body this way a little bit. Okay, so with our grip here. So number one concern we're going to have is the belt grip. Okay, so remember when we break belt grips, we don't want to pull straight up. What we want to do is separate that grip. Okay, so if he's gripping his belt this way, we want to go that direction. But the important thing is we can't have any separation between the chest and our tricep, or his tricep and my chest. So we're gonna hug nice and tight. We're gonna separate the grip by rotating towards his chest. Then we're gonna elevate, okay? And as we bring it back, we're just gonna rotate, okay? Remember, it's not with the arms, it's with my entire torso, okay? When I turn his arm, it's with my torso every single time. So that's building strength through technique. So that's option one. We separate, elevate, and rotate. It follows just a circular path there. Number two is our threaded Kimura grip. This is a really strong submission, especially once it is threaded. I don't know any really effective ways to get your arm out of that. Okay? So threaded here, I've got my grip. All that I'm going to do is I'm going to let go of his wrist, go behind his elbow, and grab my tricep. Okay? And then my left hand that was on my wrist is going to grab my right tricep. So you can see his elbow is locked in place between my elbows. So now what I want to do to finish this, I want to put him on his back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my head to the mat. Then we're going to walk our body over to the far side of his head. Then I'm simply going to lean back for the tap. Okay? So scoot this way a little bit so we can get a little bit closer to the camera. So on your side real fast, please. Okay, turn. Okay, so again, our standard Kimura grip is here. For the threaded, we're gonna release, go behind, tricep, okay? Locked in place like that. You can see his hand sticking out there. The important thing is I have the elbow locked inside of that. Okay, slide back this way again. And again for the finish, once we have the thread, my head's gonna go to the ground, I'm gonna walk my hips over, I'm gonna switch my base and roll back on his body. Okay. That's number two. Number three is our step over Kimura, okay? Same thing. We've got our Kimura grip, but again, let's say he's got a really strong grip on his belt this time, okay? And I can't separate it that way, so threading it is an option, but another very good option for breaking is stepping over. So all that I'm gonna do is step that left foot up, I'm gonna pivot my hips into him. So now I can lean forward and take my weight off my right leg to step over. Okay, so let's turn our body a little bit. Okay, so now you see I've got both legs on the near side of his body with my Kimura grip in place. So I can use the strength of my legs to separate the grip and finish my Kimura from here. And likewise, if he lifts his head up at all, it's a really easy transition into our triangle from here, or shoulder lock, arm bar, etc. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 1 is our standard Kimura, break grip, elevate, turn. Number 2, threaded Kimura. We lock into place, put them on their back, rotate our hips. Number 3, we step over. Number 4, bent leg arm bar. Okay, so let's just go on your side right here. Okay, so we're here, trap. All that I'm gonna do is the same thing. I'm gonna step up my back leg, put my shin to the back, sit. So anytime we're doing a sitting type arm bar, my first concern is there space between his tricep and my chest? Is there separation between my torso and his arm? When we're using the arm bar as a braking mechanism from a sitting position like I am right now, I never want to go all the way to my back and try to finish it. What I want to practice is being able to sit in a position where I can keep my shoulders up. So immediately we can hug tight. I never want to sit back without his arm coming with me. So like this, if I've got a grip, I never want to go back and leave his arm here. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit up until I can separate the grip, and now his arm and I go together with our break here. So that is number 4. We've got one more, which is going to be the omoplata. Okay, so let's go back to position again. Right side towards me. Okay, let's turn this way. So, same thing. Kimura position. But for whatever reason, let's say I get the separation here, but he's strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my leg through, just like we did with the step over, okay? But as I throw my leg through, I'm going to sit, and then we'll swing the legs over, okay? And move to our omoplata position. You can also go to an omoplata very well off of the step over Kimura that we did earlier. So, let's roll through again real fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I got my partner on his side. Okay, turn, turn, turn. Number 1. Again, as soon as I get him on his side, we're going to wedge the back, wedge the front. Very important. Get our grips. Step 1. Separate the grip that direction. Elevate. Rotate. That's number 1. Number 2 is threaded. We punch through, tricep to tricep, head to the mat, hips over, roll back. Number 3, same thing. We're going to replace the knee with the foot, turn our hips, step over to here. Separate, and again, like I said earlier, we turn a little bit, other way. Very easy to transition to a plata or a triangle off of this position. Very, very easy. Number 4, thank you. Bent leg arm bar. Very basic. Again, space between chest and tricep, mandatory. Boom. And number 5, post up, swing the leg over, sit, swing him over, omoplata. Okay, so that is a whole series of finishing options once you can get into that north-south Kimura position. Again, the key elements here, once we're able to turn them onto their side and get our body into the north-south position above their head, is we have to place the wedges in front and back. Okay? Again, if we look at the body like a rectangular block, once that block's on its side, we have to wedge both sides, the long sides of the rectangle, so that rectangle doesn't go back to its back, to the long side of the ground. Okay? Once we have the Kimura grips in place, you've got finishing galore from that position, especially if we know how to keep the wedges effectively in place. So, that's your finish north-south Kimura. Thank you very much. Now go practice.